We are live. I love how it does that. You are live. Facebook doesn't do that when you go straight from Facebook. I always have to wait and see where it says live up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
We're live. This is Sandy and Friends. This is my newest fun adventure, and I always include friends when I do something new. It means not only fun if you do anything by yourself. That's it.
True.
So, Sandy and Friends, and of course, I always have Amy. Amy and I are joined at the hip, kind of. And today we have two people joining us, or being on with us, two friends. And our other friend, Fern Brady, could not be on today because she is teaching a class. And Amy, where was she teaching that class? It was like U of H or something?
Yeah, she's teaching at UH. I believe it's the one in Pearland, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's at UH. I know that.
Alicia, do you know anything about it?
I think it's writing summer camp.
Ah.
That would be interesting.
She told Amy she loves doing that. So plus she also teaches in the elementary school, Writers in the School or something, some program like that. So
yeah,
she does do a lot of that. So we miss you, Fern. So we have with us Alicia. She was with us last week. She's back again. And then Sue Hawley, who writes my favorite type of books. Although I can't wait to try out the Sweet Romance, Alicia. So when is that going to be ready for me to be a beta reader on?
I need to finish some stuff on my current series before I go back and do all the editing and stuff. So maybe last quarter of the year, October, November.
Oh, okay. So don't sit around waiting for it right this minute.
Yeah.
Got it. And so what are you doing writing wise these days?
I'm still working on book 5 of the Peg Shaw series. And then my standalone book that I started a long time ago, I'm still working on that. It's more.
Is that about Porter Ranz? Is that the one about Porter Ranz?
Yeah, and it's more complicated than the Peg Shaw series, so I have to check some facts and get my research really in order so that it's correct. And
are you going to come down here to do any more research anytime soon?
I'm not planning on it.
But you'll let me know if you are, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, if I come into town, I'll let you know.
Oh, good. The Sue came in. I have a sister that lives in Porter Ranz, so I love that she's writing about that. But I also love to see Sue and get caught up with her at the same time. So today, and so this is what we do. And if you're familiar with the Friends series that was on television, that's kind of how I see this. As we're friends, just sitting around, discussing different topics. And right now on the HBO Max, they're having a Friends reunion. So I hate to tell you guys that we don't pay the same as they do, though. So
that's okay.
And CJ said to let her know if you come in the area as well. So yeah, because one of the things, the reason I said that is I did some research because they're having the reunion, and I watched part of it, but I heard they got paid $2.5 million each for being on that reunion.
Oh,
wow. I could spend that quite happily.
Me too. So today I always have a few topics to get the conversation started. And today I want to talk about your friends and what's appropriate to tell friends and what's not appropriate. And the first thing I thought of was Marian LaSalle, Amy, because and Amy's doing some work with her, but Marian and I have always been good friends off and on. And I remember she was always and Marian, I appreciated this about you. Please, I want you to know that. But if my makeup, like I missed a spot or had a big glob someplace, or how sometimes I would have trouble getting it all even, going from my face to my chin and all of that. And she would always say, Sandy, you need to go kind of look at your makeup because it needs to be, you need to do a little work on it. And she had to tell me that a couple of times. And we traveled a lot. So at that time. So she, I saw her more than I saw a lot of people, but I really appreciated having a friend that would say, your makeup looks kind of weird today. So I want to talk about what other topics. How many of you have ever seen somebody come out of the public bathroom, and they got toilet paper stuck to their shoe, that kind of stuff. So would you go up and tell somebody, a friend especially, but even a stranger, would you stop them, or what would you think was appropriate about that?
I would, because I wouldn't want to be that. Of course, I'm in the little old lady category now, but I wouldn't want to be that gal walking down the mall with toilet paper streaming behind her foot.
Because we all think it's funny. We're all looking, say, look at that. But, not a lot of people would do that. Would go over and say, tap them on the shoulder or whatever and say, what would you do, Alicia? Would you stop them and tell them?
I'd like to think I would. I mean, but everything depends. I mean, is this person, being are they in a conversation with somebody else and they don't want to talk to you because they're talking to someone else? I mean, am I in a rush? So I like to think I would, but circumstances.
I would, no matter what the situation was, because that's who I am.
I know, and I even saw one person come out of the public bathroom once, and she had her, back when we wore pantyhose, she had her. So this must have been at work. I mean, that's the only place I saw people. But her dress was kind of caught up in her pantyhose. So, if you saw her from the back, you could see her pantyhose all the way up. So it was pretty. I knew it would be very embarrassing. Yeah. If you realized later on, and they wondered how many people saw me like that. So what are some other things that you see friends do or say or whatever, and you don't, and you have to decide, is it appropriate? Amy, especially Amy, I want to hear from you too, since you're the millennial. So, Jan, that is funny. Walk up behind him and step on the paper so it doesn't stick, but never say a word. Now that's a good one. So Amy, what would you do for any of these situations? What would you do what do millennials do about that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I am a millennial. I don't always claim the title to be, but I mean, millennials in general are very outspoken and blunt. We try to be as nice as possible, but we also don't have time, for BS. And, if we hurt your feelings, we're sorry. We didn't mean it, but this is what we want, So genuinely, I mean, I would like to say that I would tell someone, but then, if you're shy and you're an introvert, then, maybe we would just write them a note, and as we pass their table or whatever, leave it on the table. Or if we know them and we're their friend, we would text them or something and be like,
well,
girl, you need to check yourself. Okay. Fix it. I mean, my sisters and stuff, I'll just tell them because they're my sisters, I can be blunt with them. But if it's, I don't know, like if I was out with, some moms that I had just met or whatever, and something like that happened, I'm not going to be like, ooh, girl, let me fix that. We're not going to be like that. We're just going to be like, hey, your shirt's stuck. Maybe you should fix it. It's okay. Smooth the blow, but we're pretty opinionated, and we're gonna tell you. So I'm sorry. This is how millennials are. We take your feelings into consideration. You may not appreciate it now, but later down the road, you will. So, yeah.
Do you think that's millennials across the board, or do you think this is a personality?
Most of the people I know are like that. Okay. So, I mean, I would say it's a common ground about millennials. We're just very vocal and blunt, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's just me and my friends. Maybe that's just how we are. I guess I flocked at people like that. But I mean, I don't know. I think, I don't know. I guess from a millennial mindset, it's kind of one of those where it's better to know and to have someone tell you than to walk around and be embarrassed and stuff. And, a lot of us are, I guess the older millennials, like the first classification of millennials, we're kind of, just, it is what it is. You can't fix it. So you take it in stride and you move on. We don't try not to get embarrassed and stuff by it. But I mean, stuff happens and you just are like, man, I wish I didn't have to tell you, but I do, so I don't know. I mean, it could just be because I classify there's two groups of millennials, right? There's the OGs, the originals, which I classify myself in, and then there's the little bit later, so.
Well, what's the age group for millennials, just for those who don't know?
So I'll be 29 in 2 weeks. So I'm going to say anyone born, like I was born in 92. My husband was born in 94. So I'm going to say anywhere from like 88, I guess, through 96. Maybe 99, or you could do 1990 through 2000, I guess, would be.
Yeah, it's kind of like from 25 to 35. Is what I always kind of do.
Because I have 5 kids, but 3 of them, well, almost all of them, except one was born in the 80s. But I don't have a kid that would not have told somebody, you have toilet paper on your foot, or, you're dragging along the whole trash bag behind you, whatever. They would stop people and say, you've got to fix this, because they can see themselves in that situation and would want somebody to say something to them.
Yeah. I think it's I mean, I don't know. That's just,
so that's why I'm asking, is it a personality or is it an age group?
It's probably an age thing. I mean, I don't know.
We're kind of thinking about seeing somebody we don't know, but what if it was a friend of yours? Whoops, we lost Alicia. What if it was a friend?
Oh, I would text her and be like, hey girl, you need to fix it. Okay, I would text her. If it was a good friend that I knew. If it's someone I just met, then I'm going to be a little
I do like the idea of texting. If it's somebody you know, you can just text them. That way you don't have to say it out in front of everybody, and you don't have to embarrass them or anything like that.
And my age group doesn't think about texting right off of the.
See, I didn't think about texting until Amy said it. So,
and I thought, that would be good if you knew them that well.
Yeah, and CJ said, "What about something in your teeth?"
Oh yes, please tell me. That was the one nice thing about masks. I didn't have to worry about that when we left a restaurant because you were covered. Now we're uncovered here, and so I'm checking my teeth before I leave wherever we're at. Because I had a salad out today, and I told my husband, I said, I can feel the lettuce, and it's driving me crazy. So
Yep. So, CJ, thank you for that one. And if you have any others, and Jan, you too, anybody else, Vola is watching. So anybody that's there and not saying anything, just if you have any ideas or any thoughts or any questions. So what about the makeup? Would you tell somebody their makeup was like off? Anybody, any of you?
Now, I don't think I would tell a stranger that one, because maybe their makeup is like they want it.
But if it was me, if it was a friend.
If it was you, I would say, Sandy, you got to fix this.
Okay. Alicia, how about you? Would you tell a friend that their makeup was, and CJ said not unless you knew them well. So would you tell a friend that their makeup needed to be fixed?
I think it depends. I mean, if it was a friend and they weren't trying to look experimental, like they're, maybe mascara is dripping or something, then I would.
That's a nice way of putting it, Alicia. Experimental. I really do like that.
Well, see, my daughter just graduated from high school and she likes to experiment. So she comes up with some very, some of them look great and some of them are. It's like, well, it's a statement.
That's what I meant. If you don't know the person, how would you know that this isn't some type of statement or just how they felt that day or whatever? And so I would leave somebody I don't know. I would leave that totally alone. But if it was somebody that I knew that wanted their makeup to look a certain way and it just didn't that day, I would probably say, you you're a mess.
Yep. So when it comes to friends, what about something now these are things that could be embarrassing, but it's not going to hurt my feelings if somebody says something. And even if I'm being experimental and somebody said, hey, your makeup looks kind of, I'm like, okay, that lets me know, don't experiment there. It still wouldn't make me mad or wouldn't upset me in the slightest if anybody said your makeup's off or your whatever's off. But what about, so we're talking about what's appropriate. And I was telling Amy, we have something going on in our family that is kind of like, it may not be appropriate, but so what if you're out and you happen to see your friend's husband or boyfriend or whatever, and they're with somebody else or flirting with somebody else or something like that? Would you tell them or not?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah. Like in a heartbeat. Like I would text them while I was there and be like, oh my God, girl, is something going on? And then I would snap a photo and be like, you need to check this out. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, it might be something innocuous. I mean, it might be their cousin or their sister or something.
But that's why, I don't know. I could see that, but I think at the same time, it kind of shows light into the depth of friendship you have, where you don't want them to get hurt and you don't want to play it off because, what if you think that it's their cousin or someone they're related to and then they're holding hands and you're like, oh, this just doesn't feel right. And then that person never knows, and then their whole foundation of their relationship then has cracks in it because there's deceit and lies and stuff, right?
Well,
those people, I'm going to tell you. Like
the other thing that comes to mind, though, Amy, is you could walk up to this guy because you obviously know him or her. Okay, let's say it could be either one, and just say, "Hey, what's going on? I didn't expect to see you here." And then stand there quietly waiting for them to introduce you to this other person that they have.
Yes, that involves being confrontational. And if she writes back and is like, what is going on, then I can do that. But, I try to avoid conflict. I mean, it's kind of in my name.
And I have to say, I would be very hesitant to.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Why? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Because I've always found, or not, I won't say always, but I have found that usually, if you tell them or something like that, you do something that comes between them. When they get mad at you, not at the other person.
And that is a true statement.
People get mad at me before.
But think of it this way, Sandy, if you don't say anything and then say that they're engaged or whatever and they get married and then 5 years down the road, she's like, can you believe that he's been having this affair for this long? And you knew the whole time. It's kind of like a double-edged sword because she's going to be mad at you if you bring it to light because, her relationship's ruined, but you were honest with her, where if you don't tell her and it, years down the road, she's going to be mad because you knew and you didn't say anything. So it's better to
also stay out of other people's business. I mean, there's that thought process, like, I'm not getting involved, and so there's that. And I understand that. It's just, if it was me, I would want to know.
Yeah.
So, but not everybody does. Sandy's right. There are people that, they'll get mad at you for bringing this into their lives.
They'd
not realizing you're not the one that actually brought it into their lives. You're just the one that let them know it was in their lives.
Yeah.
That's a hard call, in my opinion. That is a hard call.
Yeah. Could you live with yourself, though, if you said nothing? That's where it comes, for me, and I guess, I don't know, I guess I'm selfish, but I would have to have a peace of mind. Even if it meant that they were going to be mad at me, I'd have to have the peace of mind by, I don't know. I guess it's a risk I would take.
I wouldn't care if they were mad at me because I just don't care enough about that kind of stuff. But what would concern me is that, do I want to put myself in the middle of that? But I would go up. I would totally go up and say hi. and then stand there while they introduce me to this other person just to see what they would come up with.
And what if they didn't introduce you? What would that tell you?
I would turn to the person and say, "Hi, my name is Sue."
That's Sue. That I would do. That
I would ask. I would be like, "Hey, so let's just say it's Janet. Where's Janet? Is she in a store? I miss her. You guys are so cute together. What's going on?" You know, if I was going to be
I might not take it that far, Amy.
I would do that. See, maybe this is a millennial thing, but I mean, I don't thrive on conflict, but if there's something juicy going on and I can like fix it, I am all in it. I am in.
It isn't the juiciness. It's what we're talking about is does your other friend have the right to know that something could be possibly going on? And you're right, Amy, 5 years down the road, I would be absolutely beyond furious if somebody had known and hadn't told me.
Well, even if that one didn't last for 5 years, if they were having another, or
whatever, many.
Yes. Then I would feel bad that I didn't say something about them
right.
in the beginning. Alicia, you've been quiet over there. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, I would want to know if my spouse was stepping out, and the friend may be mad at you, but I would question if the friend is angry with you but not angry with the spouse. Mm-hmm. If their willingness to preserve their denial outweighs your friendship, then maybe that's not a good friend anyway.
That's true. Yeah. That's very true. Very, very true.
Are their inability to cope with it? I mean, you're trying to be there for them and they can't see that because now you've brought something to their attention that they have been trying to ignore.
Yep.
And they might have an open relationship. I mean, some couples have an arrangement and that's between them. So
yeah, it is.
If it works for them, it's not for me to judge. But I mean, if you say, "Hey, I saw your husband with some chick," and she's like, "Yeah, well, we have an understanding," so it's like, "Oh, okay."
So Ashlyn says she's actually experienced this before, and it is always best to tell them right away. So thank you, Ashlyn, for that. And CJ agrees with Amy. And then Bola said if it was a friend or a neighbor, she would tell because she would want to know herself. And yeah, we all would like to know. Mm-hmm. I mean, we don't want to know because we don't want it to happen. But if it's happening, we would definitely like to.
I wouldn't worry as much if they were going to be mad at me, though, because that is not in my genetic makeup to care about that kind of
stuff. I worry a lot more about that than you do. So I would like to.
No. I know. I've stopped caring. Unless it's like my family or like close friends. Like if Sandy was mad at me, it would bother me. It would eat me up one side and down the other. Like I would call her and be like, "Sandy, don't be mad at me." But if it's like someone I just met, that we've only hung out a couple of times, I'm like, I don't really care. Like I'm not invested this much. Like I don't really care.
The difference is she doesn't care if it's me that's upset. I'm just kidding. Whoever has been upset with me that I knew. Anyway, she was very quiet about it.
I am my mother's daughter. Totally. Yeah.
So, any more thoughts from you, Alicia? Is that anything else you wanted to add about that one?
About that one? No.
Okay. So can you guys think of any other scenario where you would like, as a friend, is it appropriate for me to say something to them?
What if it comes with, right? Because I mean, we all have children. So what if it was on your parenting style? Or
that's a great one.
How would you handle that if it was like a parenting style? Like I don't know, like what I can't even think of like a scenario.
Oh, I can think of a lot of parenting styles that drives me crazy. So if it's somebody that I don't know that well, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. If it's one of my kids, they're going to hear it.
Well, so what if somebody's at your house, even one of your kids, and so we've had this happen, where somebody else corrects your kid, and you just don't want somebody else to correct your child.
Well, if you're in my house, your kids play by my rules.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I've always done it that way. And I never have trouble with kids here. I mean, I've had cousins, kids, and their kids come over, and she's like, "Oh, he's just such a little terror." And there must be something about the way I hold myself or something. And they sit down at the little table I have for my grandkids, and I get Crayolas out and everything. And we never hear from them again. they're just sitting there coloring, and the parents are going, how did you do that? And I thought, well, number one, they don't know how far they can push me, so they're not going to. And number two, there just must be something about this is a black and white house. You sit down and you color and we're talking. That's the black and white. It's not, you don't interrupt. You don't drive me crazy. You don't get into my stuff. I just don't have trouble with kids at my house.
Hi, Vincent. Vincent said, hello, ladies. So we miss you, Vincent.
I mean, that's just the way I am, though.
Yeah. So, Alicia, I saw that you were going to say something a minute ago, and we kept on talking. So,
Well, I think it's kind of situation dependent. I mean, if you have like grandkids or your friends' kids or something at your house, and they start climbing on your china cabinet that has your grandmother's china in it, then I think you're well within bounds to say, hey, but try to redirect them. Don't just scream at them or slap them or something. But
I don't.
If their parents aren't on it, then you need to say, hey, let's go. There's a ball. You can go play in the backyard.
Well, ours is, we do have a 3-year-old grandson, and we are just so not a child-friendly house. I mean, and both my husband and I are both on medications, and sometimes we'll sit it down on on the coffee table or something like that. And so every time he comes over, we all have to, run to make sure he's not going to open. Most of them are child-proof, so they couldn't get it open anyway. But, it does make us a little bit nervous and a little bit hesitant to to watch him, because we're afraid that could happen. But I love bowling. I would go up and introduce myself and tell them, have your wife call me.
I love that.
Bola, you win the best one for the day. That is a great one. I love that. Love that.
That is good.
I can't believe that our 30 minutes is up, and I have to go get my
already.
I know. I had to go get my hair cut, guys. So I am going to end it right on time this time. Sometimes we go a few minutes over, in spite of knowing that we may hear from Russell if he's listening. So thank you both for being on today. This has been a great discussion, and thank you all that are watching and that listening for your comments and suggestions, and would love more. And if you have a topic that you would love to hear us discuss about friendship, about friends, send it to me. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to be a guest on this podcast, so I'd love to hear from you on that as well. So, Alicia, thank you, darling, for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Great to see.
Thank you for having me.
So can we use you as a standby?
Yes.
From now on? Okay, good. We've always used you as a standby for Author Talk, but I just want to use you as a stand. And we do need to talk about your books and stuff like that as well. So
that'll be fun.
Amy, do we have a call later today, or we don't? And then
I got it.
Tomorrow is the social Saturday for the Houston Writers Guild. Oh, and today, Amy, you told me your anniversary was yesterday. So you got
happy anniversary.
It was. Thank you. I've hit 5 years, but I've known you for 7. So yes.
I hit 40 a couple of months ago.
Oh my God!
Congratulations!
That's a big one.
It is. It is. I don't know if I'll make it that far or not, but I don't know if I'll live long enough to make it to that one. But this is not my first rodeo. So anyway, so you guys have a great weekend. And we will see you next Friday, 1:00 for Sandy and Friends.